Howdy lovelies! How are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's tips and tricks session, I'm going to show you how to use embossing folders without a machine. Now there are plenty of those wonderful machines on the market, whether you are a Cricut fan or a Sizzix fan, it doesn't matter. There are so many of those machines. And then recently, I've seen a few no-name brands popping up on some of these social media sites. Now, how will we do this without a machine? It's simple. We're going to use a rolling pin. So grab your rolling pin, and if you got some embossing folders, you can use that. Please note, this is not for the die cuts, it's for the embossing folders. So what are we going to need? An embossing folder, a spray bottle with some water, and some cardstock. I'm not using very thick cardstock. I'm using just the scrap here to show you how you can do this. Now, sometimes you do find these embossing folders are available on things like Marketplace and estate sales, and you're thinking, let me let go because I do not have a die cutting machine. Now, die cuts, obviously, with the embossing folders that's going with it, gives a very good end result. Is this a replacement for those machines? No, most definitely not. And I do think I will get a bit of flack from those die-hard Sizzix fans and Cricut fans and all of those. Whether it's a manual machine where you have to crank the handle, or whether you have some electrical machine. Now, this is for the beginners, those people that really want to start, but they just don't see themselves spending that money and making that expense to buy the machine. If you're lucky enough to get a working machine on a Marketplace or so forth, and you can afford that, please get yourself that. But as I said, and I will reiterate, this is for the people that don't have a machine. Now, personally, I have two machines. I've got the Big Shot Plus, I think it's called, that is very wide, and then I've got the smaller Sizzix. Both of them are the manual crankers. You have to crank the handle yourself. So let's get started. What are we going to do? I'm going to spritz with my bottle, just dampen this a little bit. Doesn't have to be very wet. We don't want the paper to tear. So with the embossing folder, there is the embossing side and the debossing side. Embossing is going into the paper, debossing is from the other side. Now, I'm just going to place this in. Anyway, there, sort of. You can use a bit of tape though. With the dampness, I doubt if that will work. Now, close it without moving your paper, unless you don't worry about the way that the pattern will be. And then you're going to take a rolling pin. Now, my rolling pin is not used for cooking. This is only in my craft room. Over the years, it had been used as a hammer sometimes. So obviously I cannot roll dough out with this anymore, as there's some indentations on this, maybe a drop fall on something, stuff like that. So this one is used sometimes if I want to squash flowers. I will roll it very gently like that, or leaves for imprints and things. So it's got various uses in my craft room. So let's do this without a machine. It's easy enough. You're going to place your rolling pin over, and you're going to just apply pressure to your embossing folder. You will see it's not damaging your product whatsoever. Just go back and forth a few times and make sure that you give extra pressure on the sides so that you have that. And you can even turn this a little bit. Yes, it would have been much easier with a machine, I give you that, but here it is for those people that did not have a chance here to get a die cut machine for themselves, and they've got a few embossing folders. Now, sometimes you find some magazines, craft magazines, card making specifically, that will have some dies or even embossing folders, sometimes stamp sets that's corresponding with that, and you sit with those and you would love to use it, but you can't. Now you know how, and you can try, and then later on, as you see you love this, you can then get yourself a die cutting machine. So let's open this up and do the big reveal. There we have it. You saw me do it, and there. It's working perfectly well without tearing the paper, just enough pressure. And then there's little points, but that is with the chevrons, corners that made that indents there. And there you have a beautiful piece that you can now use on a card or attach something on top. I hope you found this useful and encouraging. That's the most important. And maybe, just maybe, you feel a little bit inspired. Thank you for joining me today. Go try this for yourself. If you have an embossing folder, you can try this. Simple old rolling pin and some elbow grease. Just steady pressure, not too hard. You don't want to tear the paper, but keep on going. And you will soon find your rhythm and know how much pressure you have to apply. If you want to see more content like this, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload new content. And as always, I will be appreciating it if you subscribe to my channel too. Thank you for watching. See you back soon. Goodbye.